Hey, it's Chris. 16 inches, 40 inches. 16 inches, 40 inches. 16, 40. See the difference? People who have never tried a bigger sized ultra-wide are definitely missing out. In my experience, an ultra-wide will make you more productive. It's just more immersive, no matter what the task. It saves you time, not having to minimize and shuffle windows because everything you need can just be right in front of you. And if you're anything like me, you might even get a renewed sense of joy sitting down in front of one of these things to get some work done. And of course, like anything, there are trade-offs. But luckily for both of us, and admittedly more lucky for me, LG sent over the brand new $1,800 40-inch 5K 2K ultra-wide curved monitor so I could check it out and tell you how it works with my MacBook Pro. For those of you just catching up here, I did have a 47-inch ultra-wide a couple years back, which I absolutely loved, but it got broken during a move and it had to get recycled. Since then, I played around with a number of LG's Ergo monitor setups, and I also tried just going ultra minimalistic with nothing but a Mac or an iPad on the desk. But now, with 40 inches of curving pixels basking in front of me in all their glory, things feel right again. All right, so if you're looking to be more productive, and who isn't, or especially if you're a content creator, so somebody like a photographer, videographer, designer, and even if you want to do some gaming on the side, then LG is hoping that this monitor is going to be able to siphon out all kinds of money right out of your bank account. Okay, so before I get carried away singing this thing's praises, let me tell you about the one thing that I really wish could be better, and that is the brightness. I mean, don't get me wrong, this thing is plenty bright to get done what you need to get done. It's just that even at 100% brightness, when it's next to my MacBook Pro or my iPad Pro, it suddenly looks kind of dull. I mean, technically this thing supports HDR, it's HDR10, but you're not gonna be blown away by the brightness, you're just not. Fortunately, that has little to nothing to do with how productive this thing makes me, which is to say, ridiculously. Okay, let's talk features. This thing is a 5K 2K display. What does that mean? It means you can squeeze a resolution of 5160 by 2160 with a pixel density of 140 PSI out of this, which for comparison is like the same density you'd get out of a 32-inch monitor with a 4K resolution. Translation, text and images actually look crisp enough that you won't regret getting an ultra-wide, which is definitely an upgrade in experience over that 47-inch ultra-wide that I talked about earlier. You should be aware that this thing has Thunderbolt 4 connectivity, which is very impressive. Why? Because it allows for the fastest transfer of data and video output, and it's also great for charging stuff with just one cord. Yeah. Also, that Thunderbolt's gonna let you daisy chain up to 2 of these things together for a mega 80-inch experience, which seems like a cool option. There's also lots of other useful ports, including HDMI, a display port, some old school USB 3s, so your input-output's pretty much covered. All right, let's talk setup. This thing was dead simple to set up. It was one click to connect the base and set it on my desk. And that was it. And speaking of the base, I really gotta tell you, I think I do prefer this sort of stand from LG versus the Ergo monitors that clamp onto the desk. Right, so comfort and productivity. These things go great together, so I've never been more comfortable using one of my favorite productivity tools, Jasper, the AI writing assistant, with this monitor. Now on the website, this thing's actually billed as offering an immersive gaming experience. And it actually does have a few decent features for gamers, things like FreeSync, Dynamic Action Sync, or Black Stabilizer. Now admittedly, I haven't done any serious gaming on here, but the games I did try looked nice enough for what I consider to be a productivity-focused monitor in the first place. But it's cool though that if you're in the mood to do some casual gaming on the side, or after hours, or just in your free time, this'll work for that. And also, I should tell you, if you're interested, I have made several videos on LG monitors before, so just click on the pop-out banner up in the corner or check out the link in the description to see how this thing compares to an LG Ergo monitor. All right, so features aside, how's this thing actually been? What's my experience been like using it? Well, I'm excited to tell you that the Daily Tech wallpapers look great on this ultra-wide. Link those up for you in the description. But the first thing I have to tell you is that in order to get the top resolution out of this display, I couldn't go into Apple's settings and just dial it in there. I actually had to use a third-party app called EasyRes, which I'll link up in the description, in order to get that 5120 by 2160 resolution. Here's the thing, I love screen real estate. I'm addicted to it, I can never get enough. So what I do is, I'm not just content with like half split screen or 3 windows side by side, or even up to 6, which you can do here, and I do sometimes. Chandler would like that, do. But I've been making really good use of macOS's Spaces feature, the virtual desktops. So I usually have a general productivity space divided up into thirds. I got Apple Notes, got a browser, and I've got my email and my to-do list sitting over on the right third. And then boom, hit mission control, or just hit that right arrow to slide over to the next desktop, and there's Final Cut Pro, gloriously filling up that entire 40 inches, which lets me see way more of my timeline than a lesser monitor would, or just on my MacBook screen itself. I've got a space for writing, I've got a space for photo editing, and it's really great to be able to see all my Lightroom library spread out across the display. And because this thing handles colors so well, which it does, by the way, if I didn't already mention that, it comes calibrated right from the factory to dial in those colors just perfectly so you don't have to do it later. Being able to edit photos and videos accurately with this much screen is great. And every now and then I do open up 6 things just because I can, because why not? I mean, it's insane. You can just do things on this monitor that you can't do on other, even ultrawides, smaller ultrawides or non-curved ultrawides. This is kind of the sweet spot for me. I did really like that 47 inch, but the resolution here has convinced me that maybe this is actually my favorite ultrawide size. I can't believe I'm saying that because I did love that 47 inch. The curve here is subtle, but it really does make a nice difference. And I've actually found that since my window is right over to the right of my desk and it's letting a lot of light in all the time, this actually helps to cut down on the glare a little bit. Now there are some built-in speakers here and they can get kind of loud, but that doesn't mean they're really rich. On the one hand, it's nice to have the built-ins because you're cutting down on clutter by not having to have external speakers sitting around the desk. But on the other hand, it's just not amazing, right? Better than nothing, but not great. Also, as per usual, it's annoying to not be able to control the volume from my keyboard. But it's really no big deal because I just end up throwing on headphones for most of the day anyways. Also, unlike Apple Studio Display, for instance, there's no built-in webcam here, and some people are going to see that as a downside, given that we're living in the remote work Zoom era. But I'm curious to see if Apple's continuity camera is going to work in this sort of a setup. So at the end of the day, do I wish this thing was brighter? Yeah. But is it going to stop me from recommending this to people? Not even close. I mean, I've still been using it. I've been loving it. Actually, it's been very satisfying. Not really like nitro coffee satisfying, but I will say this. It's made me want to sit down and get work done in a way that no other accessory has for a very long time. It's really enjoyable. But the question remains, with this steep price tag, $17.99, is it worth it for anybody out there to actually buy this thing? Well, look, the price is steep, just like it is for the other 5K, 2K monitor or monitors out there. It's not a whole bunch of them, but you do get what you pay for in some ways. This thing's packed full of some really premium features. Number 1, it's big. Number 2, it has excellent colors. Number 3, great image quality and Thunderbolt. So if you are looking to upgrade your productivity, this is a no-brainer if you have the cash. Also, if you just want something that looks really great on your desk from the front and from the back, then this is a no-brainer. If you create anything visual, if you're a designer, photographer, etc., and you do some productivity stuff, I mean, this just meshes together so well. You can get better monitors in terms of brightness, and if you're really serious about doing HDR stuff, for instance. But I feel like this is such a good hybrid though, for those of us that do create, but also do other stuff like run a business. Do you need this much space? Technically not, but do you want it? Absolutely. If you try this, I mean, 9 out of 10 people, I would guess, would not want to not use it after having tried it. All right, that's it for this video. Now let me know down in the comments because I'm curious why or why not you will or won't be buying this. I want to see what you guys have to say. Also, I'm going to link up that video that I made on my 47-inch setup from a year or two ago, just so you can see it, compare, see how things have changed. That's pretty interesting too. Thanks for hanging out. Subscribe to the podcast, absolutely. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. It's @DailyTech, spelled Daily, Tekk in both of those places. And I'll catch you in the next video. Later.